and see what happens. There we go. All right. And go.
And we're live. Welcome to a brand new episode of October Anecdotal Arguments and NAW. I am your host, Jay Fry. And with me always is Mr. Macron. How's it going, Mr.
Why
Macron?
you got to do that too? It's just.
I can do it because this didn't happen to me. You know who can't do it? Garrick.
Oh my god. Yes, I use my middle initial. It's not part of my last name. It's just Kron.
Wouldn't it have to be like M-Cron? Because it's not.
Well, I mean, if you do the MC, it would be Mick Ron, which
Yeah, it'd be McCron.
that's dumb.
No, that's just stupid, sir. You're wrong.
Yeah, don't do that. That's bad. So how was your weekend?
Stupid. I was here.
Not too bad. I got a bunch of crap done.
So I ordered a monitor.
Yeah, tell me this.
And it was supposed to come Friday. It didn't. It said it was going to ship, and it did ship, but it wasn't available until the weekend, and it was out for service Monday, and said it would be delivered Tuesday, 2 weeks ago. And I wasn't about to have the clusterfuck of package-related incidents I'd had the weeks previous. So I put a hold on it. During the hold, which was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there became some damage.
Oh.
So it got sent back to wherever I got it on Amazon. And it's now back at Amazon headquarters or whatever. So I might have to bite the bullet. Instead of doing this whole stupid shit again, I will go through the process of pretending I'm not a hypocrite by going to Walmart and picking up a computer monitor.
Okay.
Which is fair, because I will be concealed carrying, and Walmart doesn't have an issue with concealed carriers.
Not if you don't tell them.
Well, that's it. You can't open carry at Walmart.
Right.
That's literally what they're asking. They're not
Right.
saying you can't carry, you can't open carry.
Right.
It should be their right. You know, I personally have seen some people I wouldn't want carrying in Walmart.
I ran into a guy who was carrying, and I didn't like how he was carrying at the Circle K the other day.
Mm-hmm.
He literally had one of Dr. Glock's specials hanging loose in his very loose shorts pocket, banging up against his thigh and damn near knee because he was wearing his shorts around his, the bottom of his ass. It was just like, yeah, I'm not real comfortable with that.
M. Crane Crystal. Steven, I have no idea what you're talking about. I am monitoring the situation of the shipping and the returning of the shipping. I watched it go away. Like, bye. Bye, monitor. That's a nice deal, too. It was $110 for a 27-inch 1080 some letter of the alphabet.
P.
I think it was an I.
Really? You don't want that.
Oh, good. Explains why it was so cheap.
Yeah, you want P. 1080p or better.
1080p. Okay, so I'll do 24 1080p, not 27 1080i.
Yes.
All
24 inches monitors are absolutely fine.
Okay, all right. Well, 27 was 3 inches more.
Yes, I mean, they're nicer. Don't get me wrong. It's just that there's
no 3 inches.
Professionals, esports gamers use 24-inch 1080p panels. So
that's right in my wheelhouse right there. We're talking about bailiwick esports.
You are going to be the Fortnite champion of the world.
Yeah, I don't think so. Speaking of, did you hear about the
Blizzard thing?
What fucking? I don't remember what the game was.
Hearthstone, I believe.
Hearthstone, yeah, that's it. What the hell is that?
I have no idea. I Blizzard pissed me off many, many, many years ago. Hey, Wolfie.
Hey, Wolf.
Yeah, I was a diehard Diablo fan, and somewhere I still have the box, my original Diablo box from like 1997, that said Diablo 2 was coming in '99. Like it's printed on the outside of the box. Diablo 2 coming in 1999, and it didn't. I think it came in 2002. So they pissed me off way back then, but they were still making good games. I really enjoyed Diablo. Warcraft was okay. Starcraft was the bomb, and then Brood War was even better. But I never got into WoW.
Elder Scrolls B in the D.
What's that?
Baldur's Gate. I played Baldur's Gate and Elder Stones.
Baldur's Gate is still one of the best games ever made. The first one, anyway. The second one was, it was okay. It was a decent follow-up, but it was not as good as the first one. The first one's outstanding.
I'm boycotting Mortal Kombat because
Why?
of that bullshit. Mortal Kombat 10 was supposed to come out on the PS3, and they didn't tell you it wasn't coming out on the PS3 until the day after the grand opening, or the grand release, the drop, whatever you want to call it. I was pissed, and that week I bought a PS4 and did not buy Mortal Kombat. I still don't own Mortal Kombat X.
I think we have 9. I think we have X. I'm not sure if we have 11. They don't seem to get any better. They don't seem to change much. The storyline is meh at best. And I don't know, I never found them all that compelling.
Well, X's storyline is stupid because they basically kill everybody, and then because of a loop in a crystal time chain, it goes back the previous day and all the fights happen. It's stupid. I don't care that you can play the Predator. It's stupid.
Yeah.
And I won't play it but I did watch the shit out of the cutscenes. I watched the entire 3-hour movie, basically, that was cutscenes.
Yeah, going back to Blizzard, I picked up the first game because they split StarCraft 2 into 3 separate games. And I picked up the first one and I played it and it was okay. The second one I didn't pick up right away, but eventually picked up. The third one I didn't buy at all. I just watched all the missions and stuff online, and I was like, okay, I got the experience, and I didn't have to pay him a dime. Because fuck them. Blizzard's been terrible for at least a decade, if not 2.
Last I played was World of Warcraft, something about a Lich King. And they put in new characters, the Death Knight, and literally every fucking buddy was a Death Knight because
Right.
it got you to level 55, and it only went to level 60 at the time.
Right.
And just everybody was a Death Knight, and I'm like, you know what? I hate this game. And I stopped playing.
Well, and that's kind of where, I mean, previous to WoW, there was EverQuest, which I was big on, but I couldn't. Scope creep happened with EverQuest, where it was just like they kept releasing new expansions where they'd introduce new stuff and everybody would glom onto the new stuff, and then everything new in the new areas was like super overpowered compared to any of the old stuff anywhere. So even the stuff that you could spend, if you started the original game, the stuff you spent literally months or years getting in that original game was complete crap compared to the stuff that was just dropping off of monsters in a general yard in some of the new areas. It was just pathetic.
Same thing happened with Destiny that pissed me off. Like they used to only have the really good weapons, and you would get pieces of them in PvP. I am not a PvP person, as we all know. Not a PvP person. What's going on in the chat? We got Wolfie, we got Wolfie. And we got Steve.
Yeah, so we've got 5 people watching, which is pretty good. Hey, Wolfie, I didn't get a chance to see Mikey's little blurb today because I was in the middle of work when he dropped it. Can you shoot that over to me at some point so that I can actually get a good look at it?
God forbid I do my own work.
Yeah, because I literally scraped this together in 10 minutes, so kind of running a bit behind today.
Kind of took you 50 minutes for you to call it 10 minutes.
Well, that's because those 50 minutes was me wrapping up my work and driving home and then helping my wife with some stuff before I actually got over to the computer to get everything going.
Oh, I need that monitor so I can just figure out myself and fail on my own. Um, I can't believe just how it makes sense how America is sucking up to China. Even we were talking about Blizzard and we were talking about their what was his name? Blitzoid fucking anyway,
Yeah, I don't know the guy's name, but the thing that shocked me, and it took me till I actually watched the video to understand why. I thought that what had happened is that there was a couple of Blizzard guys interviewing this player, and the player put on the pro Hong Kong stuff, and then they were like, oh well, screw that guy, we're not going to give him what he earned, just because he's pissing off China. I was like, okay, number one, that's completely unethical and completely shitty, so fuck you, Blizzard. The second thing that happened is they terminated both of the interviewers. But what I
yeah.
didn't realize is that the interviewers were actually Chinese interviewers. So I'm less pissed off about that now, even though I still think it's completely shitty. I get it that you kind of have to do that in China, even though it's wrong. So I'm less pissed off about that than I was before, but I'm still pissed off that they didn't give the guy his earnings.
Well, it wasn't even that bad because they were like, "Oh, okay, that's what you say. Let's get out."
Well, and they were all super embarrassed and ducking the camera, and what can you do? I guess that they were doing some research and they thought it was a pre-planned thing, and like they're blaming everybody involved, which is fucking retarded. Don't do that. If the guy chose to do that on his own, he did it on his own. Pay him his due, and then just don't let him enter into your contests anymore.
Yeah.
Stick up to your end of the contract. The clause that they use to get him and deny him his earnings is completely vague, completely arbitrary, and completely wishy-washy. And while, yeah, that's part of the contract, any good shyster should be able to get you out of that clause pretty much like that.
Well, let's hope they do. Maybe it'll become a bigger deal, and they'll have to suffer the consequences of their kind of greedy bullshit actions.
I don't even know that it was greedy. I mean, yeah, it is, because then they don't have to pay the purse. But
I mean, it was 3,000 American.
Yeah, I really don't think that was what was holding them back. I think it's literally
It was a punishment.
fear of the Chi-Coms.
It is, and it's a big thing. But people need to understand, China is way bigger of an enemy than Russia ever was.
Yeah, but they're not exactly a direct enemy because they're not stating that they're diametrically opposed to the American way of life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they are, but they're not out there saying it as a matter of core principle like the Soviet Union was doing. They're quasi-capitalist.
Oh yeah, those quasi-capitalist communists.
Well, they are. I mean, why do you think everything we get now is built there? Everything is made in China. Apple pays them billions upon billions.
Yeah, that's some bullshit. Thanks, politicians.
But, I mean, then you couple that in with, and I wanted to do a video on this because this all dropped like last Tuesday, right after our stream. And I was like, okay, so after that, the NBA thing blew up. Steve Kerr turns out to be a gigantic, throbbing piece of shit. And so the Houston Rockets head office, GM, I guess, I don't know, said something like, free Hong Kong or support Hong Kong or whatever.
It's not like he was talking about the Second Amendment where you shoot up Americans every day. This is completely different.
Yeah, because, hey, excuse me for a second. Hey! Yeah, so, I mean, beside that stupid ass comment aside, that man runs his mouth every time he gets a chance about Trump. Because, I don't want to, his first statement was, it's something I've been looking at and something I don't really know much about. Bullshit. You know plenty about it. You run your mouth before you know anything about Trump, and just like the mainstream media, every time Trump gets in hot water, you're like, yeah, fuck that guy, and then it turns out to be, oh no, Trump was right, and you got to eat your crow. He never eats his crow because he's a piece of shit.
I mean,
But
to be fair, he was told to go out there and get them to stop talking about his comments about China, and it was pretty much a success.
I guess, yeah, but I mean, just the whole thing. I mean, I'm sorry. It's time to hold people accountable to American values. I mean, we've had this problem with Google and with Twitter and with YouTube and all the alphabet medias and whatever, that they're not upholding the American value of free speech. They'll glom onto it when it suits them, like Steve Kerr did when he was talking shit about Trump and what a horrible human being Trump is and this, that, and the other thing, and our administration, blah 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 blah. The same thing, the Colin Kaepernick angle, just fucking nonsense. They'll claim it then, but when it really matters, when it's on the line by an actual authoritarian, everything they accuse Trump of being that China actually is, then there are like, oh, we're completely on board. Fuck that. We love China. China's great. Woohoo. Thank you for the Chinese yen. Which, okay, you want the Chinese yen? Go for it. Go play in China. See if you get the money.
But you got to play by Chinese party rules.
You got to play by Chinese party rules completely. No more American dollars. No more American freedom. Fuck you. Go. You've made your choice. That's your choice. You no longer get freedom of speech because you chose not to support it.
Mm-hmm. I argue that with my African all the time. Like, do you know how much of Africa they're taking over? What you're complaining about American imperialism?
Yeah, they're literally everything that they whine about Trump being that he's not. They actually do.
100%. It's getting ridiculous.
And then the thing today, which, granted, I was too busy at work to pay too much attention to, but I guess there was a video that blew up. I guess it was, another one of those CNN Trump type memes where he, body slammed CNN. Where they
have you seen The Kingsman?
Yes, I have, and I watched both. I've seen that scene, and it was brutal when I saw it the first time. I was like, wow, that's really rough. But then,
okay, so
I've seen The Kingsman, yeah, and then I'll let you put it in my bum. Yeah, I've seen The Kingsman.
Save the world.
Yeah. So then I watched the meme again, and I thought the meme was again just as good. It's literally not any worse than the movie clip itself. And then they're all up in arms.
It's actually a lot less a lot less worse. It's less graphic because of the giant.
Yeah, because of the
placards.
Yeah, because of the logos over everything.
Cuts out all the blood.
Pretty much, yeah. Like when, especially at the end when he runs the stake through the guy's throat and face and head, you can't see that at all. But yeah, I'm getting tired of the double standard. Like I've been tired of the double standard.
The 50-year-old who made this.
What's that?
Hard. They're going to dox the 15-year-old who made this hard.
I don't even think it was a 15-year-old. All I know is that the guy who shared it, I guess, was Carpe Donktum, wasn't it?
Uh-oh.
And he got banned from Twitter for like a short period.
Oh no, not again.
Which, yeah, it's kind of his shtick at this point. But yeah, I mean, just the ridiculous overreaction to something that's just innocuous. And meanwhile, we've got video of this week at Trump rallies, people being abused for supporting Trump at Trump rallies as they're walking in and out.
Yeah, there was a guy with like a homemade "Make America Great Again" sweater, toting his wife behind him, or girlfriend,
and she gets sucker punched.
Yeah,
they sucker punch the woman. I'm like, and then they start getting all up in their grill like they're big shit. I'm like, could you be the biggest pussies in the fucking world? They'll never go toe to toe. They'll never just stand up without a crowd. They will never stand up and assert their thing, their opinions. The closest we came to that was the guy who got spit on that Matt showed last night, where the old guy got spit on, and that other guy, The what?
The old guy got spit on.
Right. The old guy got spit on, but here's where the closest thing we're going to get to that is the kid who came up and said, "Hey man, I'm sorry that happened to you. Even, that was disrespectful, even though that is disrespectful." I almost have some respect for that kid because, hey, at least he was doing it the right way. He wasn't being abusive. He said, "Hey man, that was uncalled for, but I think your hat's uncalled for too." Okay, I don't agree with that opinion, but that's exactly what we're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't begrudge that kid. I don't even gonna make fun of him. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's as close to stand up as somebody who disagrees with Trump people are gonna get. That's the most reasonable I've ever seen them be.
And it's not that reasonable.
That's not.
You're,
No, I mean
you're
it's still shitty, but it's like the most reasonable they've been.
You were comparing assault with a bodily fluid to a hat with a logo on it. Or not a logo, a motto on it.
Yeah, a motto.
I don't know what's the motto with you.
So, yeah, I mean, just.
I can't believe you laughed at that.
Yeah, well, I'm old.
It's like a oh.
I appreciate dad jokes.
I work in plastics. Chinese finished parts, after being shipped overseas, are cheaper than our raw materials by weight. That's their country paying for their electricity and materials. Makes it hard. Understood.
Right, but how long can they run that deficit and to what end? Because, yeah, there's a lot of money flowing that way, and they're buying a lot of our stuff with our own money, in a sense.
To all ends, at one point, they were just fucking nice. I just got the alert that we went live on.
It only took 30 minutes.
Yeah. Thanks, YouTube. You're being better. Sorry. At one point, we weren't buying from China, and the workers were still working, and the product was just getting chucked into the ocean.
Right. I mean, at what point we're winning this trade war? That's what the news never tells you this, but the reason China is doing all of this stuff, the reason China is putting the screws to the NBA and to Blizzard and all this stuff is because we are winning the trade war. They're suffering a little bit. So, I mean, at some point, their deficits they're either going to have to find a different market, which they can find in Africa because they're building it, or they're going to have to figure out how to sucker Europe into buying America levels worth of shit for Europe, which I don't think Europe will do.
Because of the EU.
Right. Well, I mean, the EU would do it to help them out, because they want to, especially if they can get some Chinese, war goods or maybe a treaty out of it. Put NATO in jeopardy and, put the screws to America because they're trying to become a hegemonic power, but they're a long way from that. Yes, we are winning. We've clawed back business. I don't know if you guys ever used tacky glue, but we stole that back from China. Yeah, like
Claude.
Yeah, Claude.
Are you using voice to text?
Weave, as in like weave a tapestry. Claude,
yeah, weave Claude. I'm like,
I looked at that. I was like, who's Claude?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell's going on here? And Nephilim's just talking to his computer.
Hey, whatever works for him, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's all plastic.
Plastics. One word for you. Plastics. But, I mean, eventually all you have to do is figure out a way to turn the global warming cult onto India and China, and then, there goes their second half of the trade argument, because the only way that they can do this is because they are not clean as they're producing these cheap-ass goods that Nephilim points out.
Oh, man, I remember this flood last year in India, and there was basically, what's the thing that scoops up stuff?
What?
It's like a crane, but it scoops up stuff, like a backhoe type of thing.
Oh, like it's what do they call them? Steam shovel.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's more like the crane version. But
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, it's a
so
bucket loader or
was,
whatever.
it was taking. There was a bridge, and the bridge was getting pushed by the floodwaters, but it wasn't the floodwaters. It was all the shit on top of it, literally plastic bottles and bags and debris and detritus that was man-made debris and detritus. They picked it up with the claw, whatever, just huge scoopfuls, and they rotated it and dropped it on the other side of the bridge so that it would go past. They didn't clean it up. They just
Yeah, moved
littered
it
a
along.
second time.
Moved it along. Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. Get a dump truck, people. What the fuck?
Well, I mean, that really kind of. This is one of those things where the greenies are sort of right. It's like all of our waste from Western civilization does end up in India and China and Africa, and not much happens with it other than it sits there and rots and gets randomly picked through by scavengers. And that's not a good thing, but we need to figure out what we can do for our wastes. And for as much as they tout recycling, nobody is starting a company that's going to where all of this garbage is, picking through the garbage and finding recyclers. Things that can be recycled and doing recycling. Nobody's doing that, and nobody wants to ask the question why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Dutch are. Their electricity is run on recycling.
Yeah, but that's just local stuff. They're not going to go pick up like what do they call the?
It's being shipped in now.
Oh, is it? Well, good for
I
them.
don't know
I mean, that's not a bad thing to do. I mean, other than
exactly.
they have to.
They're paying
burn
for
it.
trash.
Yeah, not only that, but they've got to either they're recycling what they can, which okay, good. At what energy cost, though? Next, what do you do with the stuff you can't recycle? Do you burn it? Because what's that do? That just pumps it into the air.
Yeah,
Right?
that's what bothers me is the cost involved. I'm like, you shouldn't be selling people your garbage. If you want them to buy your garbage, it should be bought at cost for transportation. They're doing you a favor.
Right.
But everybody wants to make money, so our garbage is no. You got to buy our garbage for 10 cents on the pound. like no, sell it for the 4 cents of transportation and everybody getting paid for doing their job, and that's it.
Oh, so it looks like Nephilim bought himself a Mexican hooker.
See, what I want you to do is go home and write an essay. I wrote my essay home.
Yes, I'm using voice to talk, and I just bought a new hoe from Home Depot.
Backhoe, that's what it was.
That's just a hooker that takes it in the butt.
Yeah, same prices in town. Speaking of the South Park boys, they also got in on the China scandal.
Gloriously, I might add.
Good for you, Parker and Stone.
I mean, they say they do some things I don't necessarily agree with sometimes, but more than 80% of the time, I'm in lockstep with them, man. They just give everybody the frickin' raspberry, and it's wonderful.
They did a musical called The Book of Mormon, and do you know who really loved it? The Mormons.
Mormons, yeah.
The Mormons loved it.
It's free advertising.
No, they were like, they mocked us so thoroughly.
I still want to go see that one. And it's one of those things too. I'm like, I'm going to be offended for people I'm friends with because I'm friends with a lot of Mormons. And I'm like, I know just enough to know that this is going to hit them right in the soft spot. And it's going to be wonderful, but it's also going to be one of those things like, oh, now I feel bad for you, bro.
There was a guy coming out of he got interviewed and he's like, I found out 2 new secrets about my own underpants.
I've only worked with one guy that I've known has worn the magical underwear.
Yeah. Now these two guys were talking to each other more about like how good it was, like how thoroughly they were made fun of. Uh, but they were like they were being interviewed, so it was on tape. But they were kind of just talking to each other about like just how thoroughly they were destroyed, and they had a good time with it. And I can appreciate that when I have somebody talking to me about a mega killer AR-15 with the 100 round belt fed clipazines. I'm like, I can't argue with this person. They have no knowledge base whatsoever. Like, you can't belt feed a magazine. Like, that's just not a thing that can happen. But if I can have an articulate conversation with someone who actually knows what they're talking about, I can't tell you how many books I've been a party to, or even just TV, where someone pulls the hammer back on a Glock or thumbs off the safety. Just even like in movies, they'll point a Glock at somebody and you'll hear the hammer pull back. Like, what the fuck is that? Like,
Just get a Beretta. Just get a fucking Beretta. They were popular. They're still popular. Just get a Beretta. Don't carry
I'm
the
gonna go with
G-Lock.
because I really enjoy excess big dot sights. I think I'm gonna get a CZP07
Okay.
with an olive drab base.
Okay.
Matt's got a dumpster. Did you see Matt's dumpster defender?
Yeah, he put the furniture on backwards.
Well, did he?
Yeah. The front hand guard is on backwards. Which I don't blame him for, because I've always thought that when they're on right, they look kind of dumb and kind of not intuitive and backwards. But I get it, but it's still backwards. And even me as a non-complete
No.
dumbass,
That's a hand stop.
yeah.
It is on backwards, but that's for a hand stop.
Either way,
He wants to keep his fingers.
I'm as a non-huge gun nut. I knew. Okay, Christensen
Yes,
should have known, or he made
Well,
that choice deliberately, and I don't
he
blame
did
him if he did.
choice, and I'm going to make that same choice.
Yeah, I don't blame him if he did, because to me they've always looked weird on the correct way.
Yeah, I don't want to do a Keltec wave where it's only your pinky and your thumb.
Right.
But yeah, so apparently there is a company out there who takes a Magpul forend, and the Magpul forend is for 7 3/4 forends, and the Mossberg Shockwave is a 6.5. So they futz with the plastics and carve it out so that it fits the 6 instead of the 7. And when he gets back in touch with me to give me the company that does it, I will be getting one, because my shotgun needs my shockwave needs a light.
I need to put the money away and actually just go buy myself a dumpster defender.
Ah, they're so good.
I know. And they're not even that expensive.
Mine was $320.
Yeah, that's what I said. Not too expensive.
Yeah.
What's burning?
I have no idea.
And a lot of people out there have switched over to using instead of putting on a plate or a shell carrier, they tape hook and loop to the side, and they replace the shell carrier from a vest. But I just put a tack star on there, $30 tack star. I have them on 3 of my shotguns, and they've never done me wrong. They've always stayed in size. They haven't broken, and it really pissed me off. I have a $700 shotgun. I put a $30 tack star on. It's a little bit embarrassing.
I'd be embarrassed to buy $700 worth of shotgun.
It's a Mariner
Okay.
stainless steel so that it doesn't rust.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, not that there aren't shotguns that are worth $700. It's just that unless you have a specific use case, and that's one,
Yeah.
I just don't see the point.
It's my only chrome gun, dude. Leave me alone. Second kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. You live on a mountain, not anywhere near the sea.
Well, yeah, but I keep it in my laundry room.
So it might get wet, maybe.
The washing machine puts out a lot of steam.
Okay.
And
This is my tub gun. I keep it in the tub.
Dad, are you okay? Yep, got him with my kitchen gun. I do have a Glock in the. Never mind. It's not the point.
So have we thoroughly beat China to death yet?
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of anything else good about China.
What about the Ukraine? You got anything on the Ukraine? I should just say Ukraine, not the Ukraine. Apparently, it's offensive when you say the Ukraine.
You know who would have helped if you would have called Dr. Gary Johnson. He said the Aleppo.
The Aleppo, yes.
So that he would have to ask, "What's Aleppo?" I agree with Nephilim. Paying for good metals is worth the price.
I agree. Again, it's down to use case.
Yeah. So what is going on with Ukraine? Anything new as of Trump collusion, or
Well, okay, we actually have a built-in transition here for what our lack of transition skills are worth. Hunter Biden.
Transitions? Not pointing out transitions.
Yeah. Well, Hunter Biden has, as of I think yesterday or today, resigned from yet another board of another company, and this time in China, because of the appearance of impropriety. Because his dad is Joe.
If it wasn't for impropriety, there would be no appearance.
Pretty much. Oh, and Biden was out there bragging today that he's the reason that there's impeachment stuff going on. Don't know that that's much of a brag. Don't know that that's much of a brag.
That's a humble brag you got there, Joe.
Yeah. My corruption is what caused President Trump to get impeached. It's like, I don't think you really want to go there.
We couldn't accuse Trump of what we were doing if I wasn't doing it.
Yeah, pretty much exactly that.
Like, holy shit, Joe. Yeah, there's a new Sinatra put out a video on the town hall, and my quote was from Blonde, said, "You no longer need to be a black woman to be an angry black woman." Blonde 2019. And
that's pretty good.
I keep getting alerts that it's getting likes. I'm like, stop it. I don't care. I do care. I just likes.
Yeah, I couldn't even watch the town hall. That is so much of a clown show that I just when I have to realize, watching something like that and then realizing, holy shit, this is because the people featured on the stage want to be the president of the United States.
So bad.
Jesus Christ. Please don't let any of those people anywhere near Washington, D.C.
I'm only scared of one person, and she wasn't even there.
Tulsi?
Yeah.
I don't think Tulsi has a chance, although she is the most rational of all the Democrats.
She's the only one that scares me.
Yeah. Like, in a couple of years, like maybe in a couple of election cycles, she's going to be the powerhouse to contend with, and they just don't know it yet. That's because they've gone so far stupidly to the left. Once they come back to the center, she's going to be their champion, and she's going to fucking dominate.
It's a scary world.
I don't know. I mean, there's definitely worse Democrats to deal with than Tulsi Gabbard.
No, there's not, because they don't have a chance.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Maxine Waters is still there. Jerry Nadler is still there. Fucking Adam Schiff is still there.
Yeah, none of those remotely have a chance. Tulsi has a chance. If she had a chance, she has a chance. They're not letting her have a chance, but she was the only one I'm even remotely scared of. pretty sure Yang is going to run out of money from giving people $1,000, and he's going to have to call it quits. But there's a debate tomorrow, and last I heard, she was approved for it, but she was boycotting it. So we'll see where that goes.
Well, if it's going to turn into another clown show like that town hall did, good lord, yeah, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that.
I can't see somebody watching that and thinking that's progressive. Like that was a positive thing that happened. And fucking Cuomo with his stupid comment. I totally would have made that comment myself, and I would have regretted it instantly. And I still would have made that comment. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it took him a whole day to figure it out because he's Fredo.
Oh, I would have instantly known that I was. Whoops, that was my fault.
Yeah, that was a dumb thing for me to have just said. But let's be honest, it was a dumb thing for you to have said too, Kamala.
First off, those aren't your pronouns, bitch.
They are hers, yes. I believe Kamala Harris does go by she, her, and hers. But again, it's a stupid thing to say. Nobody cares.
Those are the pronouns, not just her pronouns.
Right.
That's what you refer to women as when you're talking about them. Why? I don't even know. I can say, without a shadow of a doubt, they were all stupid.
Yeah, they were all.
Dumb was dumb.
I'm surprised that some of them were there to even do it. I mean, I get it because everybody that was there was kind of low in the. Was Warren even there? She was there, wasn't she?
Yeah. She had the brave trans American question, where she was going to put him in her cabinet, or put her in her cabinet, whatever.
Yeah. All right. So
the only real thing I took away from that was that misnaming a trans person is violence.
Whatever. I'm so tired of their fucking nonsense. They are what, 1% of the population, if that, and that's only because it's trendy to be trans right now. Fuck them. Yeah. Well, actually, I'm not gonna fuck them, but yeah, screw them. I just don't. I'm done with their nonsense. I'm done with everybody that needs to be a victim. If you need to be a victim, you can just be a victim and be victimized and fuck you.
Wait, Tulsi's anti-2A?
Yeah. Well, she's not completely she's anti-2A because of just being opposed to, like, once you have infringement at all, you're anti-2A. But she's one of those democratic soldiers that is worried about her fellow soldiers having firearms because they know they're nut jobs. People like her are the exact reason there are no actual guns on an army base.
Mm-hmm. That's so stupid.
Yeah, it's fucking retarded.
I would like to see Trump do something about
that. Trump's not a friend. I mean, he's going to pay lip service to the Second Amendment. He's not a gung ho Second Amendment guy.
None of them are there because they're in power. You can't be. You fear. When you have power, you fear the people who can take power away from you. The people who can take power away from you are the people. And Trump's realizing that. And he's not doing a damn thing about it.
I don't think Trump's worried about losing power.
The people behind Trump are.
What's that?
The people behind Trump are.
Yes. I don't think the Don gives a shit one way or the other. He's going to do what he's going to do till he can't do it anymore, and then he's just not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And whether that's 2020 or 2024, it doesn't. I mean, I think he cares because he likes to feed his ego. Let's not deny that. But
his ego is the best, though.
The biggest.
The biggest, the wisest, the best.
But I mean, I'm going to be sad when he does bow out of politics, whether that's a year from now or 5 years from now.
He better bow.
His troll game is stronger than anybody else's.
I will give it to Hillary, though. When she says, "Why is Trump so obsessed with me?" He is obsessed with her. And there's a reason for that. Because She's lost. She's a loser. Everybody can attack Trump because he's the winner. But when you go after the loser, no one talks about the losers unless they're obsessed. But I can't understand why.
Okay, yeah, but then you've got to couple that with the idea that she said I can beat him again.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't. So where is that coming from?
Oh, because she's obsessed.
Exactly. Exactly. Again, the left always accuses people of what they do. What they are. If somebody on the left is telling you, well, you this, that, and the other thing, they are themselves that.
Yeah, if anybody starts telling me that Trump is fucking Ivanka, I'm going to go make sure that their daughters are okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a really good way to go about it. I saw a blurb today that Kathy Griffin was upset because apparently she was in that video where she got killed by Trump. And she's like, it shows him killing me. Like she forgot that she held up the bloody severed head.
Sorry, Kathy.
That's how detached from reality and responsibility these fucktards are.
Tell us how you really feel.
I just did. I'm so tired of the double standard and the hypocrisy behind it. If you want to be opposed to a certain ideal set or, you want to be opposed to Trump, okay, do it on merit. Just like Hillary Clinton lost on merit, Donald Trump won on merit. Be honest about it. Be consistent about it. Don't have a double standard. That pisses me off more than somebody just disagreeing with me and being wrong.
I can agree with that. It's the hypocrisy of it all.
Yeah, I mean, just this is a problem because we're journalists. No, it wasn't a problem when that very same movie showed a bunch of people in a church being killed. It's kind of like the Beto thing.
Yeah, because they were right-wing evangelicals.
Yeah, well, so then the Beto thing. Hey, do you think we should remove the tax exemption? You want to talk about a loaded, baited, ready-prepped question for Beto O'Rourke. Robert Francis O'Rourke, I should say. Do you think we should pull the tax exemption for churches that don't recognize gay marriage? Yes. Because that's... Like he's going to say no. I mean, come on. That question was crafted for him to say exactly what he said and to get literally like 10% of the population going, woohoo, seals, arp, 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 arp. Because even the slightest pushback on that, like, oh, does this apply to mosques? And watch him completely fall apart.
Mr. Beto Trudeau?
Yeah, basically.
Why did you dress up in blackface?
I couldn't even watch that part of last night's show because it was too cringy. Which is the case for most of Trudeau's stuff. That man is a walking embarrassment, and I don't know how Canadians can stand it.
Hold on, I'm texting Josh that you're eating. Yeah, it's also tiresome.
Yeah,
those were cute little black girls though.
They were adorable. But the fact that it's completely set up for a political end is disgusting to me, number one. Number two, Trudeau himself. Just how can anybody suffer that man being in their presence? He is such a slimy piece of shit. He's a walking embarrassment.
That person, please.
Oh yeah.
Do you think Bernie will be at the debate tomorrow? 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since his.
Yeah, I think he will be there, and I think if he's going to drop, he'll announce it during it.
I just.
What he'll do is he'll go the whole thing and say, and it'll be okay. Closing statements. Bernie will say, "I've decided for my health reasons that I'm going to drop out. So what I need you to do is I need everybody who is here and believes in everything that I said here tonight. You need to give
Vote
your
for Hillary.
support to Elizabeth Warren," and he's going to pass it to Warren.
I think it's early.
Yeah, but his health. He's not going to be able to keep up. I mean, he's not even going to make it through the Iowa caucus.
Oh yeah, yeah. Is she beating Biden in the polls yet?
Depends on which poll. A couple of them have her dead even with Biden. A couple have her like a point ahead, half a point ahead.
Oh, look at that. Steven's being gross in the chat. That's nice.
Yeah, that is kind of gross.
Fucking gays, man. Jesus.
Ew. But if it gets him out of power and keeps him busy, you do you, Steven. Do the world a favor and take Justin out of the picture for us.
Did you see the video of Belisario and Trudeau? Belisario just
Bolsonaro.
Bolsonaro. That's right.
Bolsonaro is the Brazilian Trump.
He said, "I learned a new gay slang from him. Donut burner."
Donut burner?
Yeah, it's a butt suck reference.
Yuck.
And I was like, the donut burners. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? It's the donut burners.
Yuck.
Uh,
I don't think
was
I'm better for knowing that.
wanting Trudeau in their private video libraries. Just give him the cold shoulder. I don't really see uh, him anymore in the news since his
What?
election, and like there was like 3 Brazilians like stopping people with like surplus rifles from the 1930s and making them honk their horns in celebration.
The reason you don't see anything about Bolsonaro is because he is not Trump. Because nobody really cares about Brazil, honestly, unless that they can use them to facilitate their own narrative. And he's doing everything Trump is trying to do for Brazil. So he's
He's
actually
built
being
in
pretty
Mexico.
successful in doing what he's doing. And we're just not going to cover that. The BBC even is like, well, Brazil doesn't exist right now. We're just not going to cover it.
I miss Duarte in the news. If you see a drug dealer, you can shoot them in the face.
Yeah, well, as comical in a really terrifying way as that man is, the Philippines could do a lot better.
If you shoot 5 drug dealers, we get you a new gun to shoot 5 more drug dealers in the face. I don't know if anybody's ever been to the Philippines, but my accent is terrible. I don't do. You know whose accent I miss is Bryden. He did a Kim Jong Il that was short round from Indiana Jones, just loving Trump. Like half the time his accent would instead of President Trump, he'd say Mr. Trump. Like Dr. Trump. Like, no, it's Dr. Jones you're thinking of, Bryden. I miss you. Like, you could do better, Dr. Trump. Like that's Dr. Jones. You're getting it wrong there, short round.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
God, she was awful. That chick in that movie who was
Okay, so you know why she's in that movie, right?
she was banging
Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they met. They met, and he put her in a movie because you give the blonde you're banging a movie role, I guess. And he ended up marrying her for a while. I don't even know if they're still together or not. I don't care to look.
Andy. Oh God, just fuck. Oh, I hated her. What did we talked about? We talked about Bernie, and we talked about the debates are tomorrow. Other tactics we got are Boogaloo related and shooting people in their own homes in Texas for some reason.
Yeah, I only caught that story from the stream last night, but
I read locally, it was a local Fort Worth affiliate, or no, it was Fort Worth local, that she was at her mom's house, but apparently they're saying it's her house.
does it
But
really matter that? I mean, the cop shot through a wall. Didn't
uh,
have. Okay, so let's break this down. He shot through a window, granted. Okay, it's a window. He did not have full observation of the target, nor what was behind it when he pulled the trigger.
I heard rumor that it was an ND, but you can't ND into a person. You can involuntarily manslaughter, but you can't negligent discharge into a person. A living person, I'm pretty sure you can negligently discharge into a corpse, but you can't
Well, extra hole.
negligently. Yeah, you can't negligently discharge into a living person and them dying as a result of it.
Yeah. And was it one shot?
Yes, one single shot.
Oh, well, okay then. I mean, that still. He knew there was a person there. He was giving it commands. Yet he did not have full eyes on the target, nor did he have full eyes on the situation behind said target. Which, as far as I'm concerned, is a no-no. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your training is. If you've had any training, if you don't have full control and full eyes on what you're putting a round into, you don't put the round into it.
Yeah, outside 2-story building, you don't shoot upwards from the outside, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tulsi back. I slept backwards. Says she'll be in the debate tomorrow. Oh, donut burner's getting feisty.
He's just mad that dudes think she's hot.
Yeah. Yeah. Still got the my last day of eye swelling in my left eye, but I still got this cough from freaking allergies. I might be dying here. One shot cop already quit today, so he has quit the force. That's a tough situation to be in. It was part of my job to sneak in backyards, being the back door man. It's a scary proposition, but if you are doing a wellness check, which is what the call was to a non-emergency number, a wellness check is you pound on that front door. In this case, the door was open. You pound on the wall until the goddamn house falls down. If you want, you position people at other doors and windows, but you knock on the front door until somebody comes to it. Put your hand on your pistol, have your pistol down by your leg. Those are fine positions to be in. You do not glass the windows with your goddamn Glock. I don't dislike her. I just find her name in reverse funny. Steven's got a thing for Naomi's too. Steven, you know what Naomi spelled backwards is. It's a failure. It's absolutely a failure of training, and there's no excuse for it. Apparently, he was on the department for a little over a year, and now he's gone. And that's taking a life. That's going to be a hard thing for him to deal with. It's not the Derek Brown situation where he was charging you. You're shooting as a person in their own home. But that's how they treat it. There's never the way training goes now is gun is what you say when you see a gun, and that means shoot the bad guy. There's no possibility of gun and good guy in the same grouping together. Which is why the first thing you tell the police when they stop you, I got a gun. and I've never had a gun drawn on me for saying that, and they've gone relatively well. And one time they wanted to look at the gun, so I got handcuffed. That was the extent of it.
Yeah, if you tell them, they'll slow things down and you're going to be there a little bit longer. But yeah, I mean, it's generally the better way to go. You don't want to surprise a cop with a gun.
Backdoor man has nothing to do with donuts burned or otherwise. It's going to the secondary exit and keeping anybody from going out of it. So it is, in fact, still exit only. My first experience, I had an AK, and I foolishly was fucking around with it and ended up dislodging the magazine, and I had to swing it like a bat. And I took a guy out as he was coming out the back door because my magazine had dropped out of the gun. Fucking stupid situation to be in. But that fucking gun, it's still up and running. Apparently, you can whack a couple people with it before it gets all wonky. I should have stayed with that gun. I ended up switching to a shotgun, which I love the shotgun, but it ended up giving me its own troubles. Steven with the hot takes.
He's the crassest gay man I know.
Bryden and I were having a conversation about pedotube, which is just like really weird shit was going on YouTube. Where did you remember ElsaGate?
Was that where the Spider-Man Elsa videos on YouTube?
Yeah,
yeah.
I did my thing. I think you were there for it, but Bryden was just getting furious with everything I was talking about, and Steven wanted more information on it because it's an interesting topic, but he really wasn't finding anything too disturbing with the videos. And like I sent him one where Elsa's just getting peed on by like all these different Marvel heroes. He's like, well, I mean, I'm like, no, degenerate. It's all fucking bad, man. Stop it. You can't talk about the sanctity of something because you're gay. You've got a skewed view. I'm wearing an Elsa shirt.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
All right. So now that begs the question: are you being peed on, Steven?
Is there any urine in the vicinity of your situation?
We're going to take 90 seconds to get back. So we'll move on.
Just good note. So I yeah, oh yeah, that's your view now. Fucking traitorous homo. I'm getting set up for the either in 2 year, well, in 1 year. Well, I mean, the end of 2020 or the end of 2024 Boogaloo.
Yeah, when power does shift back, it's going to be a rocky time.
Yeah. So if Josh was going to be on, we would be talking about loadouts for it. And I think I've moved to the point. I've got a 308, but it's a DPMS 308. So all the lower parts for it are AR-15 parts, and just the upper. So I can replace the any spring that could fail on it with a spring kit from an AR-15. And the only detriment is I'll have to carry a secondary bolt. But because I've accurized the DPMS, I replaced the original bolt carrier as a secondary backup bolt carrier, and put in a nickel nickel ion. Anyway, a self lubing accurized bolt carrier group, because I'm not looking to wound with a pissy 5.56 round. I've moved up to 7.62 because 30 caliber is where it's at, baby.
I agree with that.
Uh,
I've
but
never liked. I've never understood why people have such a hard on for 5.56.
the plentifulness of it.
Well,
You
I guess, but I mean, just bullet weight 3-1.
Mhm.
Just bullet weight. Okay, so you're gonna poke three small holes, even with the tumble. Even with the tumble, you got to poke three small holes to do what one round from a 30 or a 7.62 can do.
Yeah, but that's not to say, like, I've got several squared away ARs, so I do have plentiful 5.56 for Big Igloo. But I also have a very tactically squared away AK-47
Yeah,
with light, sling, scope. Um,
yeah,
Now the only thing is, I don't have additional parts for
yeah.
it.
I'm okay with that. I'm gonna have two cheap ass Korean SKSs stashed somewhere, and that'll be that. And
Wow. Do
well,
you own them already? Because they're not going to be cheap ass in a couple of years time.
not in a couple of years, no. But I'm working on getting a couple squared away. Um, it's kind of it's terrible, but knowing a bunch of low life scrubs who have guns but don't have money and are always late on their rent, you can kind of
Oh,
it,
I would do that.
it opens doors, and
Yeah,
I don't have to wait for a gun show.
yeah. It is a heavier gun, but I'm a great big fat person, and even though my diet is in full effect, I am still a great big fat person and will be for a long time. And I don't planning on walking door to door. So, situation comes to my neck of the woods, I will resolve it here, as opposed to going out looking for trouble.
Right.
Um,
I'm
but
also
I
not
also,
above looting bodies if it comes to it. So
yeah,
it's an ever increasing armament at that point until it's not, and then I don't care anyway.
which is why I have the my original loadout was an AK and a Glock in 40 caliber, because the 40 caliber was the gun of use by the police in the late 90s, early 2000s. That has been replaced with a Glock 19. Now 9 millimeter is the caliber of choice and the gun of choice. My local police department uses Glock 34s, and the Knoxville police use Glock 17s and 19s. So those will transfer nicely. I could just take the mags and transfer them over. And Glocks, pretty much all 9mm parts are the same, besides for barrel length and slides. Um, but the question is the generation, will be somewhat of an issue. But for the most part, you can take just entire halves of Glocks and put them on the other halves of Glocks.
Yeah, more or less.
But I started with the AK because the Big Igloo would be Russia or China. And then over time, I bought an AR because it's an AR. Yay, fun. At no point was I going to murder men with my AR, because the gun is not designed to kill people. You can't even hunt 60-pound deer with an AR. You can kill a 60-pound deer
Well,
with
you
a deer.
can with a 10, not with a 15, but with a 10.
Yeah, yeah, you can. You can kill some bear with a 10. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I'm not sticking around long enough to find out.
Yeah, you can definitely shoot your neighbor in the knee with a 10 or a 15 or a 40 or a 47.
Hell, with my 32. Fuck it.
32 with my 25 jet. Stephen defending his Melinda Clark. Isn't she English? Is she even here? Or is she Australian? I don't think
Who?
Melinda's
Melinda Clark?
Melinda
I have no
Clark.
idea.
I think she's some sort of foreign. Anyway, so you have your pick, and I was debating between the um, accurizing a $2,000 AR-10 platform or purchasing a $700 deer rifle and just super snipering it out. And I think I'll go with the 2-in-1. I will cut down. Uh, a deer rifle would be great with a 10 power optic, but accurizing a AR-10 with a 1x8 scope like a primary arm.
What's your
Uh,
barrel length?
it's 16 inches, but it's a 308 16
Why
inches.
wouldn't you? Why don't you just get a 20-inch barrel?
Because I got to transport the damn thing still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would literally be the best of both worlds, would it not?
Mm, yeah, I would. But I think an 18-inch barrel would be better for a 308.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But I'm not going to put a suppressor on a damn 18-inch barrel,
No.
and I have a suppressor for it.
Oh, well, okay. Well, there you go.
Which doesn't make me super secret sniper ninja guy, but it does make me a little harder to find as I waddle back to base. Oh god, I shot him. Waddle faster.
Plus, you have the primary shot and 29 more friends.
Yeah, 19. It's a heavy gun.
Yeah, I guess it's a 10, so it wouldn't be the full 30. It'd be half. Well,
No, it's a
20.
20 rounder.
20.
I do 20 rounders. SR 25 max.
I'm in that boat where it doesn't. When the fit hits the shan, the weight is not much of a consideration for me.
Well, I'm not. I've trained in small unit tactics. I'm not going to be part of a small unit.
You are a small unit.
Exactly. I will be on my own, shooting and scooting one person at a time. But I will not be hoofing it to any base whatsoever. It's just silly at that point. I do go 20. I'm not going 30. Uh, I was so pissed. I bought 6 drum mags for my AK, and I loaded up my first one. I didn't tighten it. When you buy a drum mag, it's this one. They're Romanian 73 round drum mags, and I put the 73 out of the 80 rounds in it, and I didn't tighten it down because there's a twist on the back where you can twist it to put tension on it so that it'll feed through all the rounds.
Yeah.
But I left them loose in there, and I loaded the drum mag into the 8K, and I picked that bitch up, and I set that bitch down, and I lubed all the drums, and I put them in storage.
Yeah.
Fucking
When are you ever going to really need a drum? Honestly.
so heavy. It'll be if I'm doing a stationary post at with bullet work.
Yeah, with a bipod.
Yeah, that fucking dude. It's the weight of the gun. I didn't realize just how fucking heavy that would be. Plus, my folding stock. I've got a Zukov on there, and it won't fold. Stupid fucking drum bag. It's a big old bitch.
Well, yeah, you got to hold 80 rounds of that. I mean, come on.
I sometimes I just go into my room and I pick it up. I've got the one loaded magazine, but I've got
It's got to be a
actually
good 12 pounds itself.
I've got a cooler. It's this weird cooler. I don't know where I got it from, but it's on wheels, and on the outside it's covered, but the inside is a cooler. And when you zip it up, it's basically near airtight as you can get. And it's got it's got 500 rounds and the five other drum mags.
What's up, guys?
I guess you're backing up.
And that's what it sounds like when I back up with the cooler.
No, I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Because fuck your laws, bro.
Fuck your Guatemalan.
Yeah. So what I miss?
All of it.
We were talking about Boogaloo and decisions in the next change of power.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got to say, man, when you got Ben Shapiro that comes on his show and says, I'm either going to leave or I'm going to pick up a rifle, you know it's on. Because that dude is about as pacifist as they come.
No, he's not. He's a war hawk.
I was going to say.
He, personally speaking, he is a pacifist. He does not get into fights. Not
Yeah,
that
because he loses fights.
He gets driven home in ambulances. They don't even do that.
He's a smart
Exactly.
guy. He doesn't pick fights because he can't win fights.
Yeah, I doubt the dual citizen will be standing up to fight for America
Yeah, he will abscond to Israel.
with his doctor wife.
Who happens to be a doctor. And is his wife.
His doctor wife, who happens to be a doctor.
So I watched the Sunday special this week, which is with him and Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I don't think he mentioned his wife or being a doctor, like the whole time, which is odd.
I'm pretty sure he did one time. Pretty sure. I'm not going to say for certain, but I almost bet on it.
Well, I'm pretty sure Neil knows his wife's a doctor. It was said in the email exchanges.
Yeah. It was a pretty good interview, though. I enjoyed that. I do like interviews with Neil deGrasse Tyson, though.
I don't. That guy is so smug. Every January 1st, he reminds us that it's just a day.
Yeah.
Just a reminder,
It's interesting.
there's no intrinsic value to January 1st of the new year. It's just a day.
No, it's a sociological value, which he's basically just shitting on all the sociologists because he's a smug astrophysicist. Because astrophysicists believe that they are the penultimate of scientists and know everything about everything. Because they're dicks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just...
Doesn't mean they're not interesting.
No, I mean, he's a very smart guy. I like that he took the mantle for Sagan. I think the nation needs a Sagan-esque type character, and he's not half bad at the role. But it's like Lawrence Krauss is also another astrophysicist down the road at ASU, and he is an amazing guy at running numbers and equations and all that stuff. He's a guy you want on your side in the back room, crunching numbers and being the geek in the back room. The problem is he thinks he's a fucking superstar, and that his opinion matters outside of his ability to crunch those equations, and he's a colossal dickbag.
No argument here.
I named my 22 after Richard Dawkins because he made a comment about guns, and I went out and bought a gun. And then because I want Richard Dawkins to shut up, he suppressed it.
I'm going to present you guys a question that Matt presented us with. If you running, say this is 2024.
Didn't hear
you
anything.
have the same issues that you're having right now.
Let him finish. We'll tell him when he's done.
Would you push? Oh.
Yeah, we literally heard nothing because you roboted out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, give me. Okay. So I'm going to present a question to you that Matt presented to us.
Yeah.
Let's say you had a a Republican running for office right now, what issue would you tell them to push? Would you tell them to push on this religion thing to push back against NATO, or the guns?
Well, it's obviously the guns.
Yes.
Oh, I said religion, because it's easily more broad a swath of people.
Right, but it's also not as nearly a controversial issue. Everybody that wasn't the 10% of barking seals after that comment looked at that and goes, yeah, that guy just disqualified himself from ever running for office or ever actually achieving an office.
Well, that's what we're wondering, is if maybe he's trying to make a push for VP.
Of course he is. But he's absolutely ridiculous, and now he's become a liability. I mean, the gun statement was one of those ones that you can say, okay, that's fucking retarded, you're ridiculous, but there's enough people in this country that are that stupid that, okay, you can get away with that one. The religion one, no way in hell. No way in hell does that appeal to anybody of any religion where leftism isn't their religion.
Yeah, I mean, you literally, you would be talking about affecting Jews, Muslims, Christians. That's the gamut. The only one you're not offending is the Sikhs, because they keep their shit to themselves, and the Buddhists are rather pacifistic. So yeah, not going to happen. And you defend religion with the 2A, just like you defend every other right with the 2A.
Yeah, so you have
but
to.
The problem is, I don't think it's quite as.
Go ahead.
You're saying religion's more popular.
Right. It's easier to get that spread around.
Okay, yeah, but you don't have to fight fights that are already won. That's the thing that the Democrats don't understand. He has a losing argument, period. It doesn't matter. You don't have to fight him on that front. He's already lost that front. You have to fight him on the gun front, because half of America is ridiculous and wants to undo the Second Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
There's much less of America that wants to undo the first, which is what the other statement does.
And you defend your first with your second.
Yeah.
Boogaloo, what's your loadout?
Why am I in the booties in the middle of fucking Houston?
It's a swamp, dude.
All the freeways are just gutters.
My loadout?
Yeah.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, if the gators don't kill you, I will. So. And then you'll just be gator food, so. Yeah. No bodies to clean up either. It's a win-win.
I mean, shit, my body cleanup disposal method is time.
Yeah, but that leaves behind evidence.
Yeah.
Like,
I need that for my
evidence.
Kills. What's the loadout, though?
Lake carrier. I have a Condor, but I want to upgrade it to something better. So I'm looking around for a
carrier or LPE carrier.
Okay, let's table this for a little bit. As soon as I get in the hotel and set up, I'll get on, because I keep losing you guys because I have shitty reception.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steve is going to be running around with a teal 19, Block 19.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, is Steven Suarez in the chat?
Yes, he is.
All right, tell him I'm in Houston and we need to hang out.
Steven, I'm in Houston and we need to hang out.
So when he gets to a stopping point, we can actually converse in the chat. Or we go to after hours and you can just join us. Then
that works.
Then you guys can work that out.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Now I can actually hear you guys. Loadout would be, I have a Condor plate carrier with the Spartan level 3+ plates, ballistic plates, anti-Spalding.
Yeah,
So that'll come in handy.
that'll save your face.
Exactly. Pistol, I go back and forth between a Beretta 92 or the Browning high power. I really do like the high power. And let's see, I got my 300 blackout build is probably my go-to because it's lightweight and it's pretty good and quiet.
that was
Yep,
Josh's.
there we go.
Was talking 300 blackout.
I've always, I mean, the round appeals to me, but just the fact that it's not ubiquitous makes it not a good boogaloo gun.
Yeah, the ability to scavenge ammo off of your enemies is key, for sure.
But at the same time,
So that being said, you have to kind of go with the AR-15 in 223 or 5.56.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, AK is not prominent enough. I mean, you can risk it, and maybe you'll get lucky, but chances are you're not going to find many people that are carrying AKs in 7.62 by 39 or 7.62 by 25. Oh, no, not 25. 5.56 by, what is it? 39?
No, it's not. It's not 5.56. It's son of a bitch.
5.45. That's it.
5.45. Yeah, by 25 or whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely not around. You're not going to come across often. 7.62 by 39, probably, but not likely. I wouldn't bank on
it.
You tell him.
Steven said maybe this weekend, and then Nephilim chimed in with a throwback from earlier in the conversation that maybe you can meet at a Dunkin' Donuts. To find out why that's funny, you need to watch the show for now.
Yeah, I'll watch the show tomorrow morning. Sounds good.
Well, I don't plan on it. That tickles me in a way that makes me wonder about my sexuality. I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I love the ability to threaten somebody with a gun pointed at them and then pull back the hammer. But if I'm going to be, in the muck, so to speak, like in the shit, I think I'd want to cut out that the possibility of debris getting into that area of my gun, and I would probably go with a striker fire, like a Glock 19, as opposed to
I'm
my
just
next
not a fan of Glocks.
PO7.
And my big thing is I would prefer to have an all-metal handgun, so metal frame. So unless you know a metal frame striker fire handgun besides the H9, I'm open to suggestions.
Well, I mean, you got to look at what the military did. They went from the 45 all metal gun with hammer to a 9mm metal gun with hammer to a half metal, half plastic striker fire in their newest round of buying. So I'm a huge fan of the Beretta. I love my several Beretta products, all hammered.
Yeah.
But I think in a boogaloo type situation, the least moving parts are the best moving parts.
Yeah, probably. I do like that the new M9A3 has a smaller grip size, so it's more
The M9 series
more
has a smaller grip.
comfortable for me.
The M9 series took out.
What's that?
The M9 series took out the hump that the 92s have.
Yeah, but it's also slimmer.
Yeah.
in the A3s. Oh, so they had that as well.
Yeah, they took out the hump. They took out the hump. And did you upgrade to 20 round mags?
The 92, no. I have the old school Italian trade-ins with the heel release. So
Oh.
hey, it's nifty. Plus, you can
Yeah,
save your mags that way.
Yeah, you're roboting out.
You don't dump them. You actually take them out, stick them in your fucking dump pouch.
Yeah, but you also don't use your fucking pistol in war.
Okay.
Well, if you have to, you can.
If you have to, you're fucking screwed.
Nah, not necessarily. Because you could be putting one into somebody
Why
who has a
bother carrying a
rifle you
pistol?
can take. I mean, it's really, a pistol is really good at acquiring another gun.
Well, the point of the pistol is once you're wounded,
Yeah,
you pull your.
but they still give you
It's
second
a one-handed
shots.
weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. A pistol is only good for two things: using with one hand and using to get to your rifle.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Which is
some
what-
other sap's rifle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
A rifle.
A rifle.
Or you,
yes,
yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm
your
saying.
A rifle.
It-
Your new rifle.
A pistol is really good at getting to the next gun.
Yeah. See, I carry a knife to get to a gun, and I carry the gun to get to a fucking bigger gun.
I figure about 7 steps I'll have a cannon.
And at that point, I acquired a 50 caliber, and I knew the tank was next.
Skip the tank. Go straight to the attack helicopter.
I was sitting in the back of this technical, knowing my next step was an Abrams. Some people would have moved up to a Law or an AT4, but I don't pussyfoot. I went straight to the Bradley with dual robotic cam mounted 40 millimeter. Oh, no, I got two AA-12s mounted on top. What do we got? It's 10:30. We can wrap it up about now. I think
I think we're good. We've beat the topics to death.
We think Bernie's not going to make it past tomorrow.
It would be absolutely hilarious if he takes his time on the stage to not only dish away, but he doesn't dish to Warren. He dishes back to Hillary and introduces her as the candidate.
or it's just like the accidental, like he has a flashback to 3 years ago, and he's like, "I want you all to vote for Hillary."
That would be amazing. That would just complete clown world.
Yeah, I know she won 6 coin tosses in a row at the probability of 1.4%. That's what I like about her. She wins again. I don't know if I could do that part of politics. Smiling at someone who literally steamed me right in the ass. I don't think I could do it. Zoe Kravitz will be cast as the Catwoman in the Batman. So there's another Jew coming to the Batman verse.
So I will not be watching that show at all.
No, Batman, not Batwoman.
Whatever.
I think that might be the Cedric Diggory Batman.
Yeah, you're right. It might be. I just
According to several outlets, Hollywood Reporter and Rap, Little Lies Star is set to play Selena Kyle in 2021. Comes months after Robert Pattinson was announced in the title role. Yeah. Was Eartha Kitt Selena Kyle?
no, she just played Catwoman. I mean, yes, Eartha Kitt did play Catwoman, but I don't think they ever named her as Selena Kyle.
All right.
All right, are we done here?
Yeah, we're done here.
Okay, I'm pushing the button. Good night, everybody.
Not everybody. That's a wrap for Garrick, Mr. Macron, and myself.
See, it's just like too much like Emmanuel Macron, which is just terrible. And Garrick should be ashamed. You should be ashamed, Garrick. All right, good night, everybody.
Night.
Push the button, and then we wait.